Here's a video of me walking up and down stairs for exercise. I'll be carrying about a 20-pound bag of rocks. I sewed the bags myself, and I've been using it for over a year. I enjoy the weight. Sometimes it's great all-around exercise for the arm, the shoulders, a little bit of the biceps. You feel it like in the obliques too. I want to take a minute here, because this is about a 20-minute video, to talk about an illness that I experienced over the past few days. I'm making this video after the illness, so everything's fine. It's just I didn't really care for the experience too much, and I just talk about it a little bit and go into more detail, so you get an idea of what occurred. I bought this bug zapper. It starts out strange. I bought a bug zapper, and I hit a couple bugs with it, and I zapped myself. It's a cheaply made $6 bug zapper, and when I pressed the button, it hit my thumb with a shock that was sent to my heart, and then from there, it just made my heart feel really tight, and I was extra winded and slightly dizzy, and it's just the strangest thing. I don't understand how that came about, how two little shocks could do something so strange, but that's what happened. And for the next couple of days, things got a little worse and worse. I tried to remedy it a little bit with some herbs such as cayenne pepper, which is a good one for the heart. Red in Chinese medicine, if that color feeds the heart. And I took quite a bit of it. I felt a slight relief, not much. I also chewed on some willow bark, which you can get in the wild. I got it out at the park. The leaves are also good. Strange too, when I normally have chewed on willow leaves in the past, they make me feel a little like lightheaded and tingly, but I didn't get that feeling when I chewed on them after having this heart issue. Also, I suspect something that possibly could have led up to my problem too was a large salt meal, which was pretty much just pumpernickel bread. It tasted really salty, and I think maybe if having consumed that, because I consumed the whole loaf in a meal, so with that, just on suspicion that maybe the salt reacted with the electricity to cause kind of a shock. I don't know. But my heart got disabled in some way, and it felt weird. I didn't panic about it. I used magnet therapy to get through those tough emotional points where I would normally have had a panic attack, but I haven't had a panic attack in the 4 years since I've been using magnet therapy. So emotionally, I can handle these illnesses. They just get frustrating. At least I can keep a calm mind about them, so I can deal with them in hopefully a rational way. But that's the reaction I got was that chest stiffness, and so I placed a magnet over my chest for a little bit of relief, but that's just going to take care of any nerve pain that could occur. Not really, it didn't really set my heart right. Also, it's been hot. It was hot those past couple of days too, and I just may have been overwhelmed by the heat in some way as well. I'm not sure, but how I dealt with it is I tried to tackle it with herbs, magnets, and rest. I wasn't really able to work out too much because of this. So I was going through it, and the second day it was a little worse in the heart. There's a little sharpness. I never went to a doctor either. I didn't think I needed to, I don't know what they could do for me with that. But yeah, on the second day, it was the tightness in the chest and around the heart. And then on the third day, it kind of moved to my lung, and it felt more like what you get for pneumonia symptoms. Just a tightness when you inhale. And when I kept the magnet in the shirt pocket. When I took the magnet away, I'd get the sharp pains when I take a deep breath. So I kept the magnet in my pocket, and that took away the sharp pains from the deep breathing. But still, that tightness was there. And I went onto the Craigslist forums. I argue a lot on there. I went on to the alternative health and discussed the options. And I got all kinds of interesting, we'll say, suggestions on what I could do to better myself through this tribulation. A lot of them were B vitamins or C, vitamin D, get your greens, talk to a doctor. But as we went through all these options with several people that frequent the forums, I realized afterward that I could consume garlic. I forgot about that one. Dr. Wheel in his book mentioned how you could chew on garlic, don't swallow it, maybe cut a clove into a half piece and then let the juices flow down your throat. And that's antibacterial and could kill whatever is in your lungs. For Chinese medicine, white tends to feed the lungs and intestines, so you nourish with garlic or onions, potatoes, but garlic in particular, since it's best antibacterial out there. So I chewed on that. I chewed one clove, cut it in half twice, so 20 minutes each, or until my tongue could take it no longer and I had to throw it. And that was all day on that third day. Overnight, it seemed my lungs seemed to have started to clear, like I was able to breathe into it again, my left lung. And then the next day it was better. Don't know how long pneumonia symptoms last, but this seemed to have come and gone kind of quickly, but it did reach an alarming point. And I don't know if it's due to my lack of response. I mean, a lot of cases, it could be just that right combination of phytochemicals that you need from herbs, herbal medicines that can really knock things out. I've kept a steady diet and haven't changed it too much. But when I get an illness, I think that's a call to change the diet, which I did, which seemed to have helped. Because I normally take cayenne pepper, and that didn't seem to do much, because I originally thought it was in the heart. So that's just an option that you can only take for so long before you have to change it up and consider other options. Another thing I would have considered had the lung tightness been going longer was mullein leaf. That's an expectorant, and I didn't think of it until I walked by the actual leaf. It's growing right now in the wild, and I could pick it, but this one was close to a building. I didn't want to risk that. You can go to the park and find something. There's plenty of mullein around. I'm just in the city around a lot of gravel, and the rule is 100 feet from roads, so I want to be careful with that. But yeah, that's the sickness, and it kind of came and gone. It came violently and went silently. I have to be wary of that. I may have preconditions that could lead me to terrible things. I may have a weakened heart and react violently to these electric shocks. I've shocked myself in the past. I don't understand. But it came and gone. It's not something I'm just going to forget. I just keep garlic on me. I was keeping cayenne pepper. I think those are two great herbs. Keep magnets, cayenne pepper, and garlic on me. for the emergencies. But if it becomes to a broken bone, that's a different story. For this exercise, I at this point I'm getting a little tired, but at my slow pace, it's not too bad. I'm still able to carry the rocks, because I change up hands a lot. So one arm gets, it gets to the end of its point where it can handle no more. I switch hands at the bottom, no problem. The next arm is well rested up, and I could keep going at this for a while. I started out doing this on the treadmill. It was lots of fun. I didn't really know much about carrying weights until I was in San Diego and watched somebody walk upstairs on the Stairmaster in the gym with a 25-pounder. And I thought that was genius. Why only carry your own body weights upstairs? That seems kind of lazy. Carrying weights is definitely more extreme and will get you the results, the fitness results and endurance results that you're looking for. So I've been doing this for a while. I stopped for a little bit because I developed hip pain, so that's something to look for. You can get a muscle imbalance carrying weights for too much, too long. I was getting a stepping pain. I found got relieved from walking on my tiptoes. So it's a point of contact issue with carrying a weight. When I walked on my heels for miles, I walked miles, maybe a mile a day at least, carrying this kind of weight. Walking on the heels, eventually my hips started hurting. And that's what I mostly did, was walk. I didn't do any other leg exercises. Walking was it. Mostly flat ground. So, yeah, you're going to look at facing potential injury with this kind of repetitive stress you're placing on your hips. And I had to learn that the hard way. So I suffered over the winter, through the summer, over the winter, into the next year, up until like a few weeks ago, actually, almost a month ago. I realized I started playing with squats. I didn't really do squats. I was doing the lunges and step-ups onto a stool to no relief. I was doing the hanging ab straps to work the hip flexor. No relief for the hip. Tried various hip exercises. No relief. Started doing squats. Got relief. Strange. It's a muscle imbalance that I didn't see the answer to right away. And that's frustrating. Yeah, but it shows how important it is to change up the routine as often as you can, because you can get muscle imbalances. As you can see, somebody's passing by. It's a watering truck, because that's a horse track out there. So I had to work on the squats a little bit more. So after a couple of weeks of doing squats, the hip pain turned to a minor inconvenience with the tightness still, and then the tightness started relieving itself so I could walk longer, because walking became a pain with that hip pain. It was a chore. I didn't like walking as much, so I found myself reducing how much I was walking, and that's never good. The body is the only machine that can repair itself through exercise. And that's what's important, but it's not just any old exercise. You really need to have a good structure and excellent variety with what you do. That's why I wonder about the powerlifters. They focus on particular movements in a lot of ways way too much. They try to build up one particular exercise strength and ignore working their body in a more fluid and dynamic way, which can lead to a need for surgery and other therapies. A lot of bodybuilders have to outright quit. Okay, well, I'm just because the injuries are too much. It's just a couple more minutes.
This is my gym, though.
Just me walking up.
I prefer working outside in the nice outdoors, mostly.
Until the weather gets a little nasty. I continue exercising after this. Fairgrounds. I did suspension training. I did some curls with that bag. Work the shoulders a little bit. It gets a little nasty. This is just a warm up, pretty much anyway. Even the cold. I started going out to the fairgrounds in switch March. Arms going back and forth down the stairs. It was 20 degrees. You don't want to do too much. Big metals. Some people talk to get out there and try. It's not easy. Especially stairs when you're living in your car. It's not easy. And it's pretty stick out. And you have 2-3 stories. Rest. And climbing. You're dealing with the conditions still as you're trying to rest, and there's a horse corral. Whenever I work out in the cold, operate corner, resting at night, you'll see my body temperature seems to drop a little bit lower, and being to try to parade it around the grounds for show. I mean, this weather, they train them for 70 degrees at particular events. It's pretty good. Really trying to discipline their horse. I'm sweating a little riders bit. Trying to discipline their horses. It's maybe a little too warm. My ideal temperature is 65. Sometimes I think there's a guy who rides and exercise on a cart's behind a horse on that very track, but not too much below. It's kind of entertaining to see this young, strong horse. Summer has started. This guy got a 1 horsepower engine. Weather that still comes in northern Wisconsin. Yeah, this is wrapping up. Yeah, I dropped my bag. I've had enough. That's good warm up. I'd like to do more tomorrow. Nobody around except for that. I have some other exercises I'd like to demonstrate too. Just in this area, there's not many people who come out to the fairgrounds. So I kind of turned it into my gym. I set up my suspension training and do the stairs without interruption. Other places may not be the same. But yeah, I'm also listening to an iPod that helps distract me. So it's easy to come out here time and time again. I always have some new conversation to listen to from Jay Moore or Adam Carolla or Joe Rogan, or just good comedy or informative stuff, tech news, things of that nature. So it always feels like a different experience, even though I'm doing the same stuff. I can work through the same repetitive stuff if I'm receiving new content to listen to or read. Sometimes I get to check out an ebook from the library. I can read in between new stuff, and it always changes the day for me with the new ideas presented, new perspectives on life, or new jokes to think about. It's always a good entertainment because not much else is going on. There's not many people who are out in this area, in my neck of the woods. So you have to find ways of entertaining yourself. Exercise is, of course, some of the best entertainment you can find out there. Walking up and down stairs may look boring, but there's a lot going on. You're getting fatigued, you're feeling the muscles working, and it feels great to me. Watching it, yeah, it can be boring, but feeling it, that's a different story. And that's the part I like getting involved in. In a lot of ways, that's why I would rather play sports than watch and be a spectator. It's just completely different levels there. So I'm kind of into the sport training, but not spectating. It's just a lifestyle you choose. But yeah, this is my gym. I spent many years in a gym, doing various exercises, and now I'm outside of the gym, and it's a completely different dynamic. I had to be a lot more creative for exercising. It's a lot more open outside of the gym. The gym, you have machines, you can watch other people. There's a sense of creativity there, but in a lot of ways, they imply exercises when they line up 5 benches next to each other or 5 squat racks. They imply the type of exercises you should be doing in the gym, and that can lead to like restricted movements that you repeatedly do. And that's led me to injuries like shoulder injuries, too much benching, too much curling. That leads to shoulder injuries. Not doing too many squats and not enough back. It's a lifestyle that encourages particular behaviors that can lead to repetitive stress disorders. Here's my buddy again. So, getting out of the gym has changed up my routine nicely. Getting into suspension training, getting into this stair stepping, my picnic table fitness, changing up that routine has been very helpful. It's about just getting a new perspective on life, so you can realize. I mean, I can't say weightlifting in the gym was bad. It was different, but it was something that needed to change for me because I kept re-injuring injuries, thinking I needed to do the same things over and over because I wanted to do what appeared to be normal to everybody else. You start doing crazy exercises, people start maybe watching you a little bit more, wondering why you're doing it. Out here, I don't get watched except for on this camera. That's it.